Good morning, YouTube. In my last video, you seen where I was building an entertainment stand. We're going to work on some of that today and maybe get it all tied up. As you can see here on the bottom, I put pocket holes in. Now these pocket holes are going to be way down under the bottom, like so. So you are not going to see them unless they're down here. Huh. So what I've done is I have flipped it over on its top so that I am able to put this bottom shelf in. And for all you ladies out there who about that nice piece of cardboard we saved, well, that's what this is sitting on so I don't scratch the top. That nice piece of cardboard I saved from something. Off camera, I went ahead and cut some spacer blocks for the shelf because it's extremely heavy. Plus, just make sure I get the same length in all four corners into place. So here we go. I got the bottom shelf in. I did it off camera just because, you know, working with pallet wood, everything kind of gets a little warped. So I had to get some clamps and got a little reveal, and I think it's pretty nice. I even like these little screw holes here on the top from the nails. It gives it character. Now, one of those sides was really tight. So I went to use my saw. I do not have a track saw yet. We'll be buying one of those very soon. What I do have is this $25 Walmart Craftsman saw. And it can't cut a straight line for nothing. So we are going to go ahead and deal with this problem. So I need about 46 inches, 47 inches, something like that. I got 49 inches of board here. Now, remember what I said in the last video about these boards being really rough? This is why I done a butcher block. Because there are just too many cracks and way too much damage. Some bows and twists, and we'll get them cut down to size, and they'll be pretty nice. We'll see here shortly. Now, if you think you're just going to go grab some of this Osage orange and start running it, you better buy extra blades for everything you plan on running it through. It's hard. I have had to replace my planer blades twice, my table saw blade once, and I'm going to have to replace my joiner knives as soon as this project is over with. It goes in ugly, and it comes out pretty. Still has a nasty looking crack though. That'll have to be on the B side. So after we got all the wood milled down and cut to size on the miter saw, I went ahead and laid them out on the table because this is pretty important for the back end. We have to make the wood so that you can only see what you want to deal with. And I'll show you here. So what we want to do is orientate these boards so that everything looks pretty in the areas that is going to be your A surface. Now, I've marked a line here and a line here. Everything in between that will be considered the A surface. This chip would not be in the A surface, but we're going to flip it over anyway because this is in the A surface. This is in the A surface. So if we flip it over, that gives us a nice smooth B surface or A surface that we can deal with because we have a chip right here that will not be seen in the A surface. Now, I've got most of them orientated except this one. Again, this will not be seen on the A surface, but these will be seen on the A surface. So the other side looks better. So we're going to go with that side for our A surface. This one, again, we're going to stay with this side on the A surface. Now, according to my measurements, we need 27 inches of board to cover the back end of this. Alright, boys and girls, life lesson. Measure twice, cut once. It was not 27 and a half. It was 47 and a half. I have two sides to do. So, as you can see, we do not have 47 inches worth of board. That is what these are for. Because after I run this through the joiner, we are going to have less wood to work with. So we will be staggering the big boards and the small boards for a look like so. After everything runs through the joiner, we will run them through the router to give them a small round over that will give it a beadboard look on the back side. Running pallet boards through the jointer is imperative. If you do not run your pallet boards through the joiner, you will end up with terrible gaps. This is pushed all the way together and it has a huge gap. You absolutely have to run pallet boards through the joiner. I recommend a long bed joiner because the longer board you get, the better. I have lots of long boards up here that all need to go through the joiner for other projects. But you can't do that with a short bed joiner. So I bought the long bed joiner and it's phenomenal. It makes putting boards like these together so much simpler. Make sure to mark your A side so that you know which side to put them back on. Running them through the joiner, you will get confused. So put a mark on them. This will also help with sanding later on. So what I'm doing here is running the second side through the joiner. What you want to do is run one side through the joiner before you go to your miter saw. That way you got one edge to place on your fence of your miter saw. Now, what I'm doing here is wrong, and I didn't realize it until I had the layout all done. I have one board at the end that is 4.5 inches at one end and 5.5 inches at the other. What you want to do is run your one end through the joiner, go through the miter saw, get both square ends, and then run it through the table saw to get your final width. After that, then you can do your layout and figure out how much wood you need. Do not run both sides through the joiner. You will end up with an unsquare board, for sure. Don't do it. It's bad. Alright, I have everything laid out and jointed and I have we're going to cut right here at 47.5, and we're going to cut here. We're going to take 2 3/8 off each one of these end boards. What that will do is that will eliminate this nasty piece, and that will eliminate this nasty crack. Here I'm running through the router table with a 1/4 inch roundover. This gives it that B-board look. Another good thing about marking your A side is you will be able to see which side you want to run through the router. I have made this mistake and ran the wrong side through the router, therefore leaving an ugly side on my A side. And if you don't have enough wood to redo it, it could really leave you in a bind, because getting more wood that same thickness sometimes is pretty rough, especially when this is all the wood I had available in this particular wood style at the time. Had I screwed one of these boards up on the wrong side, I would have just had to have lived with it and looked at it. After running everything through the router, I found a piece I really didn't like, so I had to cut a new piece. Fortunately, I ran everything through at the same time, so it was all the same thickness. Let me show you this piece I found after I got the router. I seen this right here after I went to lay it out, and that's on the A side. That's not going to work. So like I said, fortunately, I had this piece. I just throw the round over on it, and it's all good. It's all the same thickness, and what you end up with is a nice bead boarded look. And this is some pallet wood, ladies and gentlemen. Now I get to sand it. Here I'm sanding the backboards with 80 grit and 120 grit on the front, and just 80 grit on the back. There's not going to be a whole lot of finger traffic, so the boards don't particularly need to be all that smooth. I did the 120 grit on the front just to give it a little smoother surface. The 80 grit on the back is going to be fine because there's going to be zero traffic on the back and absolutely nobody's going to see it. We're not even going to finish the back, just the front. Now, I rounded over the edges, it's just a little bit, not much. Router did most. So I went ahead and I pre-finished it before I put it on. I'll put it on later after this dries. Let's show you how it looks. Now remember, it's pallet wood. Working with pallet wood is all about what you can live with. I think these cracks and these nail holes, I like them personally. You may not like them, you know. Would I put this in a 16th century Victorian home? Well, I probably would. You may not. I really like the way this stuff looks. I think it's got a lot of character. So what I'm doing here is pre-drilling the holes. With pallet wood, you have to pre-drill the holes. Number one, because it's already got cracks in it. Number two, it's usually dry and will split very easily. I'm using 3/4 inch Kreg screws because I have 3/4 inch Kreg screws. Plus, the boards are only 3/8 inch thick. It's not going to take much to hold them off. Now, I only did half of this because I did the other half off camera. I didn't figure you guys wanted to see me do both sides. One side's enough for now. I think it turned out pretty well. It looks good, and I will show you a picture of the full shot here in just a second. Alright, so we have the back all installed. You can see a lot of the knots I was talking about and the cracks are visible on the back side, but they will not be visible on the front. And see this nasty crack here? It's not as bad, but you know, it's pretty visible. But it's not on the front side. The screws, I know, are not in line, or in a straight line anyway. But, doesn't matter. It's the back side. Nobody's going to see it. Nobody's going to care. So this is how the back looks. This space is left open for the bar that will hold the TV that they currently have on their entertainment stand now. When we get down there, we'll take it off there and install it here with lag bolts. We have two 6-port surge protectors that hopefully they don't have more than 12 things to plug in, or 11 at that matter, because I got one surge protector plugged into the other. This way you don't have to have 12 plugs on one wall to plug in 12 things. They're hidden right inside your entertainment stand. And once we get down there, I will insert 2 boards wherever the pole doesn't go. We'll just tack them in there with some brad nails. I'll take all that with me. Now, if you've ever tried to put a surge protector on a wall, you know that lining up the holes to put the screws and then slide it down sucks. We didn't do that. We drilled holes and screwed it on. I bet you'd like to know how we did that. Well, here you go. I don't know if y'all have ever seen one of these screws before, but I do not have that kind of screwdriver. So what you could do is find you the smallest flathead you have, and you jam it in there until it sits, and then twist it out. There are 6 of these little boogers in here, and I had to do it on 2 of them because we're installing 2 of them. So 12 in total got to come out. Alright, now that all those are off, this is what the inside of this thing looks like. Here you got your cable coming in, you got a circuit board, and you got your bus bar. So what you want to do is not drill into your bus bar. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple of marks. We'll say here looks good. And put one here. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill a hole big enough for the preferred screws we're going to use. I'm using 3/4 inch Kreg screws. Again, because that's what I have available. We're going to drill a hole just big enough for that head to go through. And then we're going to put it all back together and put it on the entertainment stand. So it seems that I forgot to hit the record button when I was drilling the holes. That's alright. I'm sure you guys know how to drill a hole. I did put all 12 of these screws back in. Same thing, just put the flathead screwdriver in there until it seated, and it worked okay. I wouldn't really suggest going out and buying a special flathead screwdriver just for this, but you know, maybe. So now that we got those holes drilled out, we'll go ahead and install it on the entertainment stand. So with both of these on back here, I plugged one into the other. That way there's only one plug coming out from the entertainment stand. It makes a nice clean look, especially since there's a 2.5 inch lip for these to hide underneath. When you push it back up against the wall, you won't see all the cords and wires and plugs, and even the search bars. You'll have one wire coming out to your wall plug if you don't have a wall plug directly behind the entertainment stand. So now what you want to do is plug it in. Take your screwdriver and stick it in there, see if it works. No, really. What you should do is find something that you don't particularly care about, like an old lamp, your mom's lamp, and plug it in. That way you can see if it lights up or not. You don't want to use a tool, because if the tool comes on when you plug it in, it may take off and end up in your leg or in your arm, or, you know, it could turn out bad. Something that lights up usually works best for me. I have this USB charger. I bought it at a gas station. I think it cost me like $5. So if it blows up, I'm not really out nothing. After getting everything married together, I flipped it over so I could start to put on a leveling feet. Now, being one person flipping this thing over, knowing that like everything after getting married together, it's starting to put on a little weight. So there's them 2 pieces of nice cardboard again. I saved them, and now I'm using them to flip over so I don't scratch the top of this thing. Once I get it all flipped over, I'll put the leveling feet on it, and then we'll flip it back over, and it should be ready to get loaded up for the 3.5-hour trip to Georgia. Alright, so to finish off this project, I went and bought some of these leveling feet. We're going to take these plastic inserts off, and we are going to replace them with these brass ones. These plastic ones can go in the garbage. We bought some felt to go on the bottom of the plastic, or on the metal leveling feet. That way it does not scratch their hardwood floors. And last but not least, we got some of these fancy wire, I don't know, covers, just to pretty up the holes for their TV, VCR, whatever, DVD, video games, and that'll give it a nice finished look on the backside. I've cut 4 blocks to go in the corners that are just enough so that the feet will sit under the bottom. We're going to drill holes in the center, and we're going to put those brass inserts right in the center, and then thread these in. Now, I'm pretty sure this entertainment stand is square, but I'm not positive, because, you know, I'm just not sure. Plus, they have hardwood floors, and sometimes some people's floors aren't level. I know mine aren't level. So to put these brass inserts in, you can see they got a screwdriver slot. I messed up and got the wrong ones. I usually like to get the ones with the Allen wrenches inside. You don't want to use a screwdriver because you'll break these tabs off. So what I like to do is I'll take the same size bolt with a jam nut. I'll thread that in there. Put a little bit of CA glue on there. Then I'll use a wrench to thread that in. And then just give it a quick jerk backwards, and then loosen up your jam nut. You got a nice threaded insert. And your feet go right into. Now, I'm not going to screw these in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put some CA glue down and then hit it with some activator, and that'll hold it in place. The weight of the cabinet itself should really hold the block. And this CA glue is pretty strong stuff, so it should be alright. And activator. And hold. Check to make sure your leveler still turns. And that's all. Well, we ain't in the shop today. Made our way to Georgia, and we got it all put in and installed. We'll show you what it looks like. Check it out. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. Taking video. We've got it all installed. Taking video. We've got the cord ports in. Right. Got the TV on. A lot of the decorations on it. Ohio State game on the TV. Let's see if we can get down here, utilize the phone, and show you some of what's going on. To all you veterans out there, happy Veterans Day. I know I'm a little late. This is just a easy West Coast offense. We'll get down here and show you the back that you've seen through most of this video. Get a little rub, a little mesh, and what defenses like to call see the port holes? See how all the cracks kind of look uniform like they're supposed to be there? That's what the A side's supposed to look like. Well, thanks for watching. I guess there's only one thing left to do, and that's finish watching this football game.